pluralists versus elite theorists. Elite theorists believe that there is at least one, or at least a handful of, maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe at most 5, that have a tremendous amount of power over most areas of real importance. The most famous of these, well, the most famous of all, was a guy that you've already heard about, big classical theorist by the name of, who would you guess, of the big 3 we talked about earlier in the class?
Marx.
Yeah, very good. Marx. Marx believed that the rich made the rules. Remember, Marx was kind of a believer in the golden rule. Those that have the gold make the rules. Marx was an elite theorist, believing that the wealthy controlled the majors. He said, okay, fine, I don't care about wine bottles. I care about where the country is going. Our bankers having more power over the decisions of the economy that affects everybody's job, Marx would say, yeah. Following Marx, however, sociology named C. Wright Mills said, Marx is too simplistic. And that's usually the criticism of Marx. Never so much wrong, he's too simplistic. But Mills said, there are a number of elites that have a lot more power. Look, Barack Obama, our first African-American president. Where did he get his law degree? Anybody know? Harvard. And before Barack Obama, who was president? Bush. Well, where did he get his law degree or business administration degree?
It was Columbia University.
No. Yale. Yale. Uh-huh. And before him, it was Bill Clinton. Where did he go to school? Yale. Before him, Bush the first. Yale. You see your picture here? Yale, Harvard, Yale, Harvard. It sounds like an Ivy League football match. Do a handful of people coming out of very elite schools in this country have power over the major decisions affecting the country? How about the major offices of the economy in the country? Under Bill Clinton, a Democrat, who was in charge of the economy, the Department of Treasury under Bill Clinton? A guy by the name of Robert Rubin. Robert Rubin. He had come out of a company called Goldman Sachs, a very elite investment bank. Under George W. Bush, a Republican, who was in control of the Treasury, a guy by the name of Henry Paulson, Hank Paulson. Where did he come from? He's a Republican, very different than a Democrat, right? Where? Goldman Sachs. Republican Democrats, you always put the economy in the hands of bankers. Elite theorists, see right. That's the debate. How everyone admits it's not a true democracy. They think there's hundreds. Elite theorists think, well, Marxists think there's one. It's always the upper class, always the rich. Elite theorists think, oh, well, I mean, Mills was famous for saying, yeah, it's the rich people a lot, but not always. People sometimes come from the right schools. After a war, you tend to get leaders who come from where?
Military.
Military. Who was president after the Second World War?
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Who was president after the Civil War? Grant. Both those people were out of the military, but they were not corporals. They were not sergeants. They were what? Generals. Again, elite people, elite background from West Point, having a tremendous power to make decisions. Okay, that's the debate. Everyone follow that? Yeah, questions on that? Okay, let's just catch up. Let's push on and talk about the economy. The economy is stupid. the reason I say that, Bill Clinton, Democrat, ran for office in 1992, and there was one slogan over every Clinton campaign office at that time. And the slogan was, "It's the economy, stupid." If the economy is going well, do incumbent presidents tend to be reelected? Yes. If the economy is in the tank, do incumbent presidents tend to get turned out of office? Yes. Money talks, BS walks. How much difference does it make? It makes all the difference in the world. Give me something that's important in life, that makes life worth living. Anything. What would you miss out on doing if you get a chance to do it? What's life? What do you want?
Family.
Pardon?
Family.
Family, yeah, family. Family. You know, kids. You know, a good relationship. You know? And love. All you need is love. What else makes life worth living?
Sex.
Forget love, we want sex. Yeah, sex, okay. Love and sex. That's nice. We can dream. Okay, what else makes life worth living?
Power.
Okay, power. We can spend a long time. Thank you, Mr. Faber. What else makes life worth living?
Traveling.
Okay, we already talked about family.
Traveling.
Oh, travel. Yeah, travel. Good. Travel. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff. Let me fill out this. The kind of stuff people come and say when we take a look at polling on this issue. What is important in life? Yeah, family, friends, religion. These are the things that make life worth living for most people. Frankly, health. Very important. And here's one that never gets said that breaks my heart when you don't say anything. Education. Okay, meaning in life, etc., etc. Okay. You know, sociology. The author of your textbook is a guy named Anthony Giddens. First author. You always look at the first author on any book or any article. But no, let me correct that. His full name is Sir Anthony Giddens. He's a Brit, and he has been knighted. He's a Sir. He is one of the most famous living sociologists on earth. That's a major guy you're reading right there. That's one of the reasons I chose him. It's a little demanding, but I wanted you to read a top-level sociologist, not just somebody like me. And Giddens is famous for saying many things, but one of the interesting for me is, he said, you know, the basic insights of sociology are either common sense or subversive. And I would add a third one to it. Common sense, subversive, or depressive. And here, this new unit we're talking about, stratification, we're going to cover all those. Common sense, subversive, depressive. Let me ask you a complicated question. Let's see if you get it right. Which would you rather be? Now be careful. It's taken the great minds of sociologists to answer this question. If you had to choose, which would you rather be? Oh, don't be too quick, because it's taken 100 years of accumulated evidence by great sociologists to answer this question. If you had to choose, which would you rather be? A rich or poor? Yeah. Duh. So is that common sense? Duh, of course it is. It's better to be rich than poor. But how many ways is it better to be rich? Now we're going to make it either subversive or depressing. Because which of this stuff is affected by how much of this you have? Every single bit of it affected by how much money you have. Oh, family. Who has more divorces, the rich or the poor? Not the rich. We will read about the divorces of the rich much more. Oh, if Donald Trump gets divorced, or Tom Cruise once more is jumping on a couch because he just left an KO. All right, We'll hear about that. But the rates of divorce are much higher amongst the poor. Oh, and how about this? How about out of wedlock childbirth? Women raising children by themselves. Higher amongst the rich and the poor. Poor, dramatically. 2 out of every 3 children in poor inner city communities in this country, 2 out of every 3 are being raised by single moms, either because of divorce or out of wedlock childbirth. One of those 2. Is that a disadvantage? Is that a disadvantage for children? I think I told you. You know, I serve on the County Board of Education. I'm actually the president of the County Board of Education. Somehow I snuck by. People always ask, what the hell does the County Board of Education do? Well, I'll tell you, we educate the most vulnerable children in this county. The Monarch School, which is a school for the homeless, County Board of Education. San Pasquale Academy for foster youth, County Board of Education. Juvenile justice, the kids in juvie, County Board. You get expelled from La Jolla High, you end up with the county. We are educating the most vulnerable. And I was talking to a 3rd grade teacher at the Monarch School, remember, school for the homeless. And he said, this is what we do with them up here. He has a little girl, a 3rd grader, that leaves the school in the afternoon. Her mommy picks her up. Mommy walks around the neighborhood for a while, and then at night, she puts her to bed down an alley where she picks out a parked truck and puts that little girl to bed underneath that alley. Underneath that truck. And that's where she sleeps until the next morning, when she gets up and brushes off the dirt and oil and comes to school. I'm not making that up. Now, let's send that little girl off to get an education in comparison to some kid from La Jolla. One of my ex-wives, we all have to have hobbies. One of my ex-wives, bad choices. One of my ex-wives used to teach at La Jolla Country Day School. And Country Day likes to say it's the most elite private school. No, it's not. That's Bishop's. I like to pretend. But it is very expensive. Yeah. Right now, the average cost of sending one kid to a Country Day for 1 year, about $30,000. What's the average family income in the United States today? About $55,000. A lot of average Americans sending their kids to La Jolla Country Day at $30,000 a year. No. One of the kids in her class was the son of Jonas Salk. Daddy. Jonas Salk. Now, does anybody know who Jonas Salk was? Exactly. That was like the next question. How many of you have ever had polio? Nobody. Thank you, Dr. Salk. Yeah. The originator of the Salk Biological Research Institution, the Nobel Prize winner in medicine. Do you think Grandpa can help with homework? Let's send that kid in fair American competition to climb the rungs of success, to get a good education. Let's send that kid of Jonas Salk off to compete with that little girl sleeping in alleys. Fair competition? Oh yeah. Yeah, the best analogy of this is the old competition where Bambi versus Godzilla. That's the kind of competition we're talking about.